Usually, when you read a market report from a top-tier real estate broker, you expect a certain level of, let's call it professional cheerleading.
Oh, absolutely.
Even when things are bad, it's always a buying opportunity.
Well, that's part of the job. You have to keep the wheels greased, keep the inventory moving.
Exactly. Which is why this new January 2026 report from Savills Pill is just, I mean, it's a shock to the system. They haven't just turned bearish on the London luxury market.
No, it's more than that.
They've effectively issued a public confession. They admitted that for the last 11 years, they were wrong. And not just by a little.
It is so rare to see a firm of that stature admit a miss this big. They stated that through 2025, they overestimated price growth by a massive 42.7 percentage points.
42.7 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that feels less like a margin of error or more like they were looking at a map of a completely different city. How do you even get it that wrong?
Well, you rely on the old rules, you know. Since 2015, all the models predicted London prices would rise by about 18%.
Based on what? Just prestige?
Pretty much. The assumption that the city's historical pull would override everything else. But gravity finally kicked in. Instead of rising, prices fell nearly 25%.
So if you bought a mansion in Mayfair back in 2014, thinking it was a safe deposit box for your capital,
You're seriously underwater.
by about a quarter of your investment.
Mm-mm.
And that's before you even talk about inflation.
And it's not over. As of early 2026, values are still 25% below that 2014 peak. Just last year, in 2025, the market dropped almost 5%.
And they're predicting another drop for this year.
Another 2%, yeah.
I've seen reports of vendors offering discounts of, what, up to 50% just to offload these places?
Yep.
That smells like desperation.
It is, but we need to get to the root cause. This isn't just a normal cycle. The product itself, owning a Kiss of London, has fundamentally changed.
Right. It all comes down to the tax situation.
Precisely. It comes down to the aggressive dismantling of the non-dom status. For decades, that was the golden ticket, you know.
A tax haven with better theaters.
Essentially, you could live in London, enjoy the lifestyle, but for tax purposes, your money lived somewhere else. Monaco, maybe?
But that loophole is closed now.
It's closed. Suddenly, living in London means paying taxes in London. You combine that with the huge hikes in stamp duty.
Which is just a massive transaction tax you pay up front.
And the so-called mansion tax on homes over £2 million, and the math just breaks. It doesn't work anymore for these buyers.
I saw a quote from a developer calling the costs prohibitive. It really seems like the government saw the
It's a grimly ironic footnote, isn't it? Just as the market is crashing, a cyber attack in Westminster and Kensington and Chelsea has been physically blocking the processing of home sales.
You're kidding. So you have a shrinking pool of buyers, and the few who actually want to close a deal can't because the local council's computer system got hacked.
It just adds friction to a machine that's already seizing up. In a falling market, time kills deals. This just gives buyers more time to rethink.
So looking forward then, Knight Frank is predicting flat prices this year, which I guess sounds like a win compared to another drop.
It's better than the alternative, but Savills seems way more pessimistic about the timeline for any real recovery.
How long are we talking?
They are looking at a very long road back. Savills doesn't see a return to actual growth until 2028.
2028.
And even then, they're only predicting about 8% growth over the next 5 years, and almost half of that is pushed way out to 2030.
So we're really talking about a lost decade that's stretching into a lost 15 years. From 2014 to 2030, with basically zero or negative real returns.
It forces a total recalibration of what a global city actually means. We just assumed London's crown was permanent.
But capital's fluid.
It's totally fluid. If the regulatory environment becomes hostile or just too expensive, that money flows to the path of least resistance.
And that, for me, is the bigger story here. This isn't just about real estate agents missing their bonuses. It's a signal that the whole era of the default global hub might be ending. If the super rich are leaving London, they have to be going somewhere.
Exactly. Is it Dubai? Is it Singapore? Or is it spreading out across multiple smaller hubs? We're watching a real-time experiment in what happens when a premier city tries to extract too much from its wealthiest residents.
And the data so far suggests
They simply leave.
a sobering thought for policymakers everywhere. You can tax the stationary, but the mobile wealth will always move. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the luxury crunch.